So the reason that I'm starting this video and starting this channel is because I've been watching a couple of videos. You'll probably see if you come across this one, where someone's playing COD in the background and basically going through their financial freedom journey, if you like, ways that they've become financially free, what they're making at the moment. Typically they've got pretty high net worth as well when they're doing that. So some are on, I think, BizPath or something like that. He's probably a millionaire already. Very young. I think he's only in his 20s, late 20s. Someone like Learn as well, I think, maybe 500,000, 400 grand or something like that. And it started watching those, and once you start watching those, you start to get a couple of cogs turning. You start to work out, well, how much would it take for me to get to that sort of level? So I did the maths myself, and at the moment I've sort of set this goal of turned 27 just the other day, and by time I think I'm going to have to give myself 4 years, although I'm obviously going to try and make sure that that's less. But I think before I'm 31, so ideally before I'm 30, but if I still do this, in the year that I am 30, before I've turned 31, well, that'd be great, obviously, but it might just be unrealistic. Who knows? Maybe that goes really well. But the idea is that where I am now, I need to get to 100 grand before I'm 30/31. I give myself, 3 and a bit years, 4 years, let's just say 4 years for the sake of brevity, but 4 years to get to 100 grand net worth. Now, the way that I've calculated net worth, and I think the way that a lot of people should calculate net worth, is basically all your assets minus your liabilities. It's not too much harder. I'm not including any pension. I'm also not including home equity in that as well. I'm paying a mortgage. So I'm not including those. And from there, I suppose that means that I've got about 16,162, I think, which means that for me to have a net worth of 100 grand, I've got to make under the 83k in the next, 4 years. And I think that's doable. The reason I think that's doable is because where I am at the moment, this is now end of July 2025. Currently, I've been working as a car salesman, a job that I love, and I mean that. I really like the place that I live. I can certainly imagine there's much worse car dealerships to work at. I know there's much worse car dealerships to work at because I've fucking been there. And where I want to be is, where was I? So I've been working there since the end of December 2023, really. And so that's a year and a half and some change, a year and 7 months, and factoring the time that I've to improve. And when I started there, I was flat fucking broke. Basically, I'd had some real success in the crypto markets during COVID. I was working in a much lower paying job, but I got into Bitcoin at something like 8 to 11 grand. Height of COVID, I had about 130k, and that was when there was a lot of people quitting their jobs to go and do their financial freedom job, which for me, I thought at that point, after having been in the market for 9 months and accidentally making 100 grand, that was it. I was going to retire. I really wish that there was someone, a future version of me, looking at me at that point and saying, no, you actually need to stay on this. You need to stay in a job. You need to sock that away, sequester it, and save it, pay off the house now, do something like that. I say this to people that I talk to about this. So if you're watching this and you know me, you've heard this, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna have to deal with it. But I had about 130 grand, and from there, I thought I was gonna be a crypto trader. I thought I was gonna do the coolest job ever, basically an investment banker in this sort of emerging space. Didn't happen. Long story short, I lost it all. And I mean, I went from 130 grand of mostly my own money, some other people's money, to like nothing. I think I maybe had, I think at my worst, I maybe had like 800 quid, which is when you have a dog, when at the time you're engaged and trying to save for a fucking wedding, and when you can feel time slipping away, and I know I look old, and some of you may have been surprised to hear that I'm only 27. It's called stress. So where I was basically, just not doing well. Bounced around a couple of things. I started my current job in 23. This is where I'm getting to. Started my current job at the end of 23, and I suppose that I've almost accidentally been able to save and invest that 16,000 that I've talked about. So that's where I am. I think that, without looking at things, without being super careful, with having a wedding to pay for in the meantime, with starting out as a car salesman, and that was a new role for me at the end of 23. I had been in the car industry, but I hadn't been a salesman. So I've got a little bit of time at the start there where I was getting better and improving my craft. I am now. I think that you haven't mastered something until you've done about 10,000 hours of it. But if you give me some credit, I suppose, and say, well, okay, in a year and a half and a bit, year and 7 months, we managed to invest 16 grand, some good stuff. That's virtually all investments as well. I'm not the most liquid person in the world. I could be liquid if I sold a couple of them. I could be 10 grand liquid maybe. But yeah, I don't want to do that because they're going to grow. It's why you invest. So I think that that's reasonable. I think that having another 3 or 4 years of focused investment is going to give me, and a little bit of capital growth in that time, but appreciate 3 or 4 years is, there's plants that don't grow in that time, there's trees that don't grow in that time. So 100 grand from 16 grand of my own contributions is gonna be, I think doable, but it's gonna take some effort. But up to this point, I haven't been paying attention, and I've already done 16 grand. So I think 83 with 3 times as much time and being better at what I do, and hopefully other side things like YouTube, other side things that I start in the meantime as well, will be what get me there. So I suppose with that out of the way, with that intro out of the way, what I want this first video to be about is procrastination. Because I woke up at probably 5:10, as you can tell, the bags under my eyes and the haggard gaunt look on my face. But probably woke up at about 5:10 and decided that I wasn't going to procrastinate anymore, and I was actually going to start this channel. There will be War Thunder video playing in the background. A game I wasted 1,600 hours of my life in, and I'm pretty good at. So now it better fucking pay me back. I just thought that would be a nice difference from COD, which is shit. I don't know. No, there's no problem with playing COD and having COD playing in the background. I think it's just good to have something on in the background, but No, I don't really want to play COD. I like War Thunder. Anyways, so that's going to be playing in the back. And this first one about procrastination, I decided that this is sort of the channel I want to do, because I want to do something that's a little bit different, but it's still going to be one of these personal finance channels. But a big part of this is that I want to be almost held accountable. I want to be doing one of these a week, if not more. I probably need to do more if I'm going to have any hope of a sort of semi-successful YouTube channel, I suppose. So at least one of these a week that just tracks this journey that I'm on, that, like I say, keeps me accountable in getting to 100 grand. If I fail, I will post that. If I don't quite make it, if there's some reason I don't do that, which could happen, yeah, I hope not, but I will still like put that up. But this is going to be like a genuinely good try over the next 3 or 4 years of getting that. Why 100 grand as well? It's something that I've come across in a few videos now, but that is this number at which things really start to snowball. Now, does it snowball particularly more than having 98 grand in there? I mean, I probably don't think so. I can't think of any reason why it would, but it probably doesn't like snowball a huge amount, but it's 6 figures, and I think that psychological numbers are important. I think that would be a very good number, and it starts to snowball from there. There's some sort of quote from, I think, Charlie Munger, which is that, whatever you have to do, get that first 100 grand. So there we are. So to begin it off, I guess, is actually to say the topic of this video is going to be procrastination and perfectionism, because I think the two are very, very linked. I think a lot of people do play off what they might call OCD or perfectionism, and they'll make an excuse for it that way, basically. But I do think that a lot of people do have procrastination. It's in that form. Something that's actually gotten me out of bed this morning to do this video is just this idea of not being able to start something because you're waiting too long for it to be perfect. You're not getting in there, getting some action, making some mistakes, which I have made. I've probably deleted about 6 or 7 videos of this before I put this up. Getting in there and making some mistakes, not having it be perfect, but still getting it up, trying to make something perfect is such a bad way to procrastinate. Constantly getting yourself wound up about just the finer details of something. You can get something that's 80% complete and it'll probably be good enough. And 90% complete will make it look polished and a lot of people will like it. But the difference between 80 and 90% complete is the same amount of time between 0 and 80% complete. So you don't need to then go ahead and do the next 10% to make it 100% perfect, because it will take you forever and you will never do it. So you can't be perfect. You have to get out and do those sorts of things. You have to get out and stop procrastinating. If you are watching this, if you've woken up and you've started watching this in bed, you're lying on your side, and this is just the first thing you do every morning as well. You wake up and you put the phone on. I think at some point you've maybe succumbed to this and decided that things aren't worth doing unless they're worth doing right. Which I think that might sound counterintuitive, me saying that that's a bad thing to think, but I think it is. You need to get comfortable with doing things wrong a few times before you get it right. That's the way the world is. And it's highly competitive as well. It's a very competitive world. And people are looking out for you to do as many things right as possible. I don't think enough people say that in order to get that done, you have to do a lot of things wrong. My whole intro to this, saving 100 grand, I've done it already. If that's something that you might have picked up on, I'm now giving myself 3 or 4 years to save 100 grand when I did it by accident in 9 months. I'm getting myself back to that. That was a big fuck up. That was a big wrong. But okay. got to do it again. I've got to get back there, and I've got my plan to do it. Something else as well, when I start talking about procrastination there, and perfectionism, is the learning process. I said earlier that, or I definitely said it earlier, I can't remember if it's in one of the videos that I've saved now, but I did say earlier that mastery, to become good at something, I think you have to do it for about 10,000 hours, and I'm currently still getting better at what I do at my craft, car sales, which I think is something that everyone should try, and I'm not just saying that. Sales, being told no a lot, like, you know, you're on track if your conversion is 33%, I believe. You're a good negotiator and you're good and convincing. If your conversion is like close to 50, like that's really good numbers. So most people being on 1 in 3 means that you're being told no twice as often as you're hearing yes. So you need to get good at that. You need to. I think a lot of people need to get out of their shells and get better at hearing no and improving. I think sales would be something that a lot of people should do, just purely for that almost. If you don't though, if you've already got something that you're very good at, it's not sales, and you're very skilled at, it's making you a lot of money, and you're wanting to do a similar kind of journey as to what I'm starting now, then obviously don't go and start taking knocks in an industry that you're maybe unfamiliar with, and don't have the skill that you've already built up. You don't need to do that, but the general rule of thumb, I think sales is good. So yeah, 10,000 hours I think is how long you need to achieve mastery in something, which is about 2,000 hours a year. So 5 years if you work quite a lot and you do stuff outside of work as well, maybe 4. And as I'm shooting this video as well, every so often I'll go back and rewatch it, and I'll think that that angle isn't good. It's not a very flattering angle. I'll look at some part of me and I'll think, oh, it's not. I wish that looked a little bit better or something like that. Again, that is another, like, that would be another thing that for a lot of people I think would stop them actually posting this. For me, at some points as well, would just fully stop me doing anything at all. It would totally stop me in my tracks. And again, if that is you, if you're sort of hearing this and you're maybe starting to think of at work, going back to sales, you need to make some calls. You need to make 20 in a day or something like that. Maybe you have a target set like that. I don't, maybe you do, right? You need to make 20 in a day and you're not picking up the phone because you think, I just don't know if it's going to be worth it. I don't think it's going to be worth it. I'm going to get told no. I'm going to do the things wrong a couple of times before I do it right. Hopefully you can think back to this point of this video later on the day and you can sort of just remember that that is something that you need to do. And it's a really, really important part of the learning process to get it wrong, and try getting it wrong and hearing no quite a few times. If you want something else to help you think about procrastination as well, I watched a video just a few days ago. I think it's Scott Adams, who is not someone that I particularly watch, but this kind of came up on probably Instagram, that sort of feed. And what he said was very interesting, which was that you might want to start thinking about laziness. So therefore, in my mind, procrastination, you might want to start thinking about laziness as a habit. And it's the habit of, rather than thinking about the payoff of something, thinking about the work that it takes to get there and allowing that to dissuade you. And if you are, again, thinking of something and you're putting it off, if you're not at this point in the finance journey of 16 grand, which I know for me, I'm looking at it and telling people that's sort of what I've almost accidentally come to, and I'm aiming at 100. Maybe 100 for me is 16 for you if you're watching this. And you're currently at 0 or you're at a negative number, which could be could be your situation. It's shit. It's a crap place to be. Maybe you fucked up with a car finance deal that you weren't ready for. Maybe you got a degree in something that is poorly paid, and that is your situation. Again, I don't want to alienate anybody, and you think that, you know, watching this video, that you just can't relate to having 16 accidentally, or with, maybe not accidentally, but just without consciously making a goal, having 16. You can't really entertain that idea, and it's unrelatable. So getting to 100 is absolutely crazy. You need to just treat, you need to like do a similar thing, I guess, then make 16 your 100 and make 0 your starting block. That might happen. Maybe something that you're procrastinating about, though, if that is you, is checking your bank account regularly. Maybe you don't want to look in there because it's a bit painful every time you look in there, and you actually don't want to tot up what you've spent things on, because you know in the back of your mind you've said, I deserve this, a couple of too many times. Maybe you said, I deserve this every time. You know, initially it wasn't bad, and then you started saying, I deserve this a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and now it's become, again, a habit. And it's that habit of thinking of the pain of looking at it, rather than the good feeling that you're going to get when you get whatever issues you have under control. So if that's you, and there's poor debt going on with you, you don't have good debts at all, you only have bad, you might not have any money, you might completely live paycheck to paycheck, then maybe that's you, and you need to pause this video, whether you're watching this on a desktop or on your phone. You need to pause this video for a couple of minutes, look through your banking app, look through Santander. If you don't spend on a debit card and you put it on a credit card, there's no excuse. You need to look at that instead. You need to see how much you're spending on that one. Just look at everything that you're spending. That's going to be painful, but you're going to have to do it. And again, don't let yourself procrastinate anymore, because you need to get it wrong. You need to see that you're getting it wrong before you get it right. And that's just so fucking fundamental. I think a lot of people are actually really scared to get it wrong, and I think that's absolutely understandable. There is too much perfection. There is too much perfectionism in the world. There is too much holding people back from doing stuff. And I think that quite quickly that becomes an excuse to stay in the comfortable lifestyle of, you know, just getting by. It's like uncomfortable, comfy, which is like really not in the long term. But stay in that and just allow things to sort of happen to you, and just let things happen to you, which is totally giving up your humanity. If you're a man, in fact, you are giving up being a man. That is non-negotiable. Having some sort of control of your future, thinking about uncomfortable things, being able to plan and think about family. You're meant to be a protector. You're meant to be a bit of a brick wall for people in your life who aren't maybe as physically strong. Maybe they have attributes that favour other areas, but you need to be like a physically important brick wall in their life. And if you're not even prepared to look at your own finances and treat yourself with some tough love, you're not going to be able to do it for them either. You won't have any respect. You won't have any self-respect either. And again, there's too much perfectionism in the world. I think there's not enough people getting it wrong. I think there's too many people also being afraid of asserting masculine principles. Maybe not going to go down this road too much, because this is more about finance, but that's a belief of mine. So to kind of conclude this ramble, at the moment, I've, without thinking about it, managed to invest/save £16,000 in a little over a year and a half. I've gotten much better at the job that I do. I plan on getting much better. I've gotten totally out of being depressed. and not seeing a future for myself. I feel great. I probably don't look it. That's probably because I've like woken up so early, I won't lie, I was at a birthday meal last night, which means that I had a little drink. So I probably don't look great right now. But again, maybe being a little hungover has helped me get over that procrastination. Not that you should drink. That is not an endorsement of alcohol. Fucking no way. But, you know, maybe it just helped. Anyways, what was I? Yeah. So I've sort of year and a half, saved 16k, feeling a lot better about money, about my future. The goal now is 3 or 4 years to have 100 grand. In order to get there, I need to have a plan. And I've got my plan written out. I'm going to be going over that in another video. I can't procrastinate. I need to be putting up imperfect videos like this one. I need to not be OCD. I need to not be a perfectionist. I need to be very realistic about the goals that I have set myself. And I think that they're achievable. I do. There's a lose condition that's possible, which is where I don't achieve them. And I think that with a bit of sacrifice, it could be done. I think there's one last thing as well that I'll say. It's that if this video does anything, what it could be is, by the time this project is finished, and it's been 3 or 4 years, I hope this video and this sort of series ends with success, and I hope that I do have 100 grand of net worth. If you are watching this, if this has been successful and you're watching this then, in 3 or 4 years' time, and I've done this, maybe you're starting with zero, you need to look at saving, what's the difference between 116k, 84k, all right? Maybe this encourages you that, okay, if I'm starting from zero, I can still save 84 in 3 or 4 years. If I'm starting with 36, I can still get to 120 in 3 or 4 years. I don't think that there's anything about me that is so special, basically. It's going to give me some unfair advantage with this. There's things about me that I think are, beneficial. Like I said, the things that I've already got, a certain amount of mastery in the job that I have, and a certain amount of effort making outside of work to be better at it, a certain amount of money already that I built up from what I didn't have. I'll go into that at some point a little bit more. But I seriously hope that if this project is successful, that you're watching this in the future and you can say to yourself, like, that's doable. I'm doing the maths off the top of my head at the moment as well. That means 150/200 videos if I'm doing this once a week, probably more. So maybe that is what happens as well, and it ends up being a bit of a series that you just sort of tap in with. This is probably going to be the longest video of them all. This is more or less just going to be a diary of accountability. But I certainly hope this discussion does something to help you get out of bed. If you're a perfectionist and you're not getting out of bed, if you are procrastinating because you don't think that you're going to do something right the first time, if you are in the habit of not doing something because you're thinking about how much effort goes into it rather than the payoff, then I'm very, very hopeful that at least one of you just does something different today. This sounds so corny, but if you just start off with something like that, just start off with, today, I know that I don't have all the right equipment and the right shorts and shirt and shoes, but I'm going to go for a run. Right? Do that. I know that today I don't have my meal prep exactly to the paleo, Ray Peat diet that I've been looking at online or whatever the fuck. But I'm still going to get like 40% of the way there. Try it. Fucking start now. Genuinely start now.